Hey F1 fans, welcome to Who Moved Up and Who Moved Down after the Italy race. Let's see what happened. Let's start out with the teams. Okay. Oh, nothing changed. I just wanted to point out though that here we are with only 8 points between the top two teams. McLaren closing in ruthlessly onto Red Bull. Red Bull's really falling off, and everyone's kind of just catching. McLaren closed that gap from 42 points to 8, and I think they're almost certain to get the Constructors Championship. Ferrari is in better shape than expected in the first race, P3 and P5. And they brought upgrades to the second race, and Charles won. So with 39 points to Red Bull, they have a chance at P2 in the Constructors, I think. But I'm still a Max fan, and I still hope Red Bull wins. We'll see. Mercedes, kind of middle of the road. Williams brought upgrades. So Alex got into Q3 in both races. That's super good for them. And got 2 points for the two races for Williams. Alpine also got 2 points for the two races. But Aston only got 1 point for both races. So that's painful there. And then RB and of course, Sauber got 0 points for these two races. So yeah, not much movement except in the top, which is of course where it's super exciting. Let's see what happened to the drivers. Okay, our first swap, not really a swap. We have Gasly, of course, getting points, and Ollie Behrman staying still. Although he's going to be driving, and we'll get to that. Pierre got a P9 and a P15. So he got 2 points for the two races, and moving up into P14. So the other one is Ocon and Albon switch places. Ocon finished P15 and P14, so nothing. They're really struggling. Whereas Albon finished P14 and P9. And he was only P14 in the first race because he got disqualified from quali due to an illegal floor, so had to start further back. So that's really good for Alex, really good for Williams. And then, of course, we have the rest. Max. Max finished P2 and P6. So, yeah, the car is definitely losing form, but P2 isn't bad, and P6 was just good damage limitation. He took the start in the first race, but Lando calmly waited. He's learned that trick and overtook him on track and pulled away into the sunset. So Max couldn't do anything about that. He finished 22 seconds after Lando, which is usually the reverse. No matter who, Max is always like just pulling away. And in the second race, he just gained 1 position from his starting point to finish 6th. So yeah, Red Bull really has to bring it back. Like I said, I'm still hoping. Okay, Lando P1 and P3, really super awesome results for Lando. The first race he won smoothly, and the second race he started in P1, but dropped behind Charles after being overtaken very aggressively, I think, by Piastri. He later set the fastest lap. So he finished P3 and fastest lap and caught up to Max by 8 points, which is just exactly how many points he would have caught up to Max if they had finished P1 and P2. So ironically, even though Lando finished P3, it was the same kind of move on Red Bull. Charles Leclerc finished P3 and P1 in the two races. The second race, of course, Italy, he won Ferrari's home race using a bold one-stop strategy and being a total tire whisperer. All right, then we have Piastri, P4 and P2. So Lando got P1 and P3. Piastri got P2 and P4. So to me, you know, there's a better driver here. But yeah, he still fancies he has a chance at the championship. And his team is not supporting Lando's bid for the championship. They insist that both drivers are the number one drivers, so they get to race. Yeah, so after making Lando give a win to Oscar because he will need him to win the championship, that's just because Oscar has no intention of helping. He just wants to get his wins, and there's no team orders. So, coaxing Lando to give up his position because he's going to need Oscar is just gibberish. Because, yeah, he needs Oscar, and where's Oscar? And where's the team saying Oscar help? So, yeah, Oscar thinks he still has a chance at the championship, and it's getting to the point where it's like, well, Max is going to have to DNF 2 times or something. It's like, it gets to a point where it's just not bloody likely. Sorry. Lando should have kept that win. I'm turning quite negative against Oscar at this point. It was a hugely aggressive pass, and Lando didn't want to crash, so he had to give it up. And you could argue, yeah, he could have, forced himself in there, but he didn't. He thought, I got the lead, I got a good start, let's go. Let's keep a 1-2 for the team. So, sorry, I could go on and on, but that was just like, ticked me off. I'm really starting to not like what's going on there. Carlos, P5 and P4, so very good. Although in the first race he didn't make Q3, so that was a bit sad. But in the second race he ran at the front with Leclerc on a one-stop strategy, but he couldn't keep Lando behind. And Oscar got him as well. Okay, then we have Sergio, finished P6 and P8. So yeah, a bit closer to Verstappen now that the car is more unbalanced. Verstappen's feeling it as well, but still not like right up there with Verstappen. Okay. Yuki finished P17 and did not finish. I only talk about him because I actually root for him. He's such a nice guy. He's come a long way and he's improved so much and he really does perform well. Yeah, he out-qualified Ricardo again, but they put him on a two-stop strategy that didn't work out, so he was always in traffic. So he got P17. And in the second race, he was the only retiree after damage from when he collided with Hulkenberg, which I think Hulkenberg hit him. So again, it's like it doesn't look good at all, but I still root for him. Although I don't think they're going to give him any seat. It's going to go to Ricardo or someone else, which is sad. Okay, speaking of Ricardo, he got P12 and P13 for his races. So no points for him either. And in the second race, he got a 5-second penalty, then a 10-second penalty for crashing with Hulkenberg, and then for not serving the first penalty correctly. Yeah, that's just sad. Like one of the team members just like put his hand on the car to steady, and yeah, that counts as working on the car. So the 5-second wait time didn't count. I think they should have realized that actually and just said, okay, abort, we're not going to serve the 5 seconds, just go and then serve it next time. Anyway, so Kevin Magnussen finished P18 and P10. And the reason I have him up for a talking point is because he received a 10-second penalty for a minor crash with Gasly, but that means he now has more than 12 points against his license and must sit out the next race. And that's where Ollie Behrman enters back in because he will be sitting in for Kevin Magnussen. Likely. I don't think that's confirmed. Okay. And finally, a word about Mr. Logan Sargent, who crashed out in FP3 in the first race, so no quali, finished P16 and cost the team a lot in damages. I guess that was the last straw because he's now replaced with Frank Colapinto, who finished P12 on his maiden race. And here he is. Yeah, P12 and did not crash. So much better already. And of course, let's not forget our lovely new visualizations. We now have streaming tracks behind the cars. And so I'll start at Silverstone and let's catch up to the present. Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy. So Max is still pulling forward, but yeah, Lando's definitely in the chase. And let's see how that goes. So there you have it. Please like, share, and subscribe, especially if you like the new format. Thanks as always to my wonderful assistant Natasha for her work on the visualizations and editing. And our next race is in 2 weeks in Azerbaijan, then Singapore. See you after those.